Okay, hi guys and welcome to the show. Today a very quick video as I want to share with you another Lego build and a few observations and opinions about this 2022 Lego Speed Champions Lamborghini Countach. This is the number 76908 building kit. Now if you missed my last video with the Ferrari F8 Tributo, let me just briefly summarize. But before we get into it, don't forget to click like, it really helps me. I don't ask for Patreon or anything like that. In fact, to keep the channel content free and to watch more independent videos like this, it's the best way to support the channel, so don't forget to hit that like button. Also, I'll do a quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing my 80s Gordon Gekko era Cartier Santos Galbi, which I think kind of complements the Lambo's instantly recognizable shapes, and despite being from the 70s, it is very indicative of the 80s. So the Speed Champion series has gone through several generations, offering some of the best value and also fairly accurate to real life models, considering their very modest scale and relative simplicity. But what I like most is the fact that they have gone two-seater over the more slightly juvenile previous generations, making it not only more realistic, but generally further enhancing its aesthetic. But also, let's not forget, it's very fun to build. So when I saw that they came out with a new model of the legendary Countach, I simply had to get it. Now this is a very easy build, taking about an hour, the same as the mortal enemy rival Ferrari that I shared on the channel before. So why this model? Well, when I think of Lamborghini, this is the first car that comes to mind. Now of course it was one of the many exotic super sports cars developed by the Italian design house of Bertoni, but perhaps most crucially, it pioneered and helped popularize the sharply angled, sometimes referred to as the Italian wedge shape, which of course went on to inspire so many other cars, brands, and basically became a trend for decades after. Eventually peaking and becoming, as mentioned earlier, synonymous and indicative of the 1980s. You can still see its influences in the 1990 successor, the iconic Diablo from Lamborghini. So the Countach was first released in 1971 at the Geneva International Motor Show. It was a more aerodynamically efficient and aesthetically daring successor to the revolutionary Lamborghini Miura, which, let's not forget, is the first so-called supercar. But I mean, just look at it. It's really 70s, almost kind of sci-fi retro compared to its predecessor, and very much has a brutalist kind of aggressive look to it. In fact, actually, I always used to mistakenly think it was designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro because of this particular style, but actually it was the creation of Marcello Gandini. Now, Lego have done an absolutely bang-up job recreating it in just a relatively simple kit, and I think actually makes use of the pieces far more effectively than the Tributo. Now, the pronunciation, I believe, is Countach. It's one of the few Lamborghinis that is not named after a bull or breed. It's actually a derivative of a Piedmontese word, which of course is spoken in, it's a dialect spoken in northern Italy. It's an expression of alarm, or I guess the closest English word would be wow. And of course only exists in that particular region of Italy. For those of you who know me, I just adore classic cars, primarily 1930s Art Deco roadsters, mid-century Americana like Cadillacs and Mustangs, etc., but rarely older stuff. But I do have a weakness for Italian sports cars of the 70s and 80s, which this is unequivocally perhaps one of the most important. The modern stuff just doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid. Kind of like watches, incidentally. That's just my tastes. But if you do prefer the modern stuff, Lego have, what was the other one? A McLaren as well, but they just don't grab me like this one does. Speaking of Giugiaro earlier, I would love to see a DeLorean. I do believe they've come out with a Aston Martin DB5, the Bond one, but I already have several models of that from Corgi, so I'm going to skip it this time. Size-wise, it measures about 1.5 inches tall, about 6 inches long, and about 2.5 inches wide. There are 262 parts, which I believe is just a little bit less than the Ferrari, and some new parts I've never actually seen before in Lego. And it does come with a driver, a little minifigure with helmet, or interchangeable with a hairpiece, and a comically oversized wrench. I still don't get why they haven't updated the wrench, but yeah, it's just the same as it was when I was a child. I named the Ferrari driver Giovanni, so I'm going to call this chap Francesco. I think it's only fitting. I was going to go with Giuseppe, but I think Francesco's fine. My complaints or negatives are twofold. Firstly, it is a bit of a shame about the colour. I would have loved to see this in the more synonymous giallo, Claris yellow, I believe it's called, which leads me to believe they're perhaps saving it for a Diablo later. It does have a nice red interior, which I do think is fitting to the white. But fingers crossed for the Diablo. It's a kind of ivory white, and I think it's second to yellow. I think it's pretty cool. So, secondly, I would have loved to see those famous scissor-style opening doors, but I understand it is a little difficult to achieve in this small scale. Even so, a bit of a missed opportunity. The best part has to be the way they really captured the chassis and body construction, especially the sexy rear spoiler. In fact, actually, the entire rear section is perhaps the highlight of this particular kit. Very cool stuff indeed, very inventive, and a good use of not that many pieces. Also, we should note that the addition of a spoiler indicates that this particular Countach is from the 80s and not the 70s. So in conclusion, overall a great affordable kit, fun, easy, a perfect gift for a car lover, no matter adult or child or somewhere in between like me. Never grow up, guys, never grow up. It's far too boring. And it's things like this little indulgence that just make life so much richer. And you know what, for 20 bucks, it's an absolute bargain. I love the authentic detailing, the stickers especially really finish it off nicely, and it makes a nice addition for the war room alongside the Ferrari. Currently these are a steal on Amazon, trading under 20 bucks as the Ferrari was a year ago. I'll add one to the Urban Gentry store down below. There's a link in every description, by the way. And I suspect they will go the same way as the Tributo, which actually doubled in price in less than a year, brand new. So I have a feeling availability will diminish over time. This is one of the best speed champions I've seen from Lego, and possibly the best yet in the current lineup, in my opinion. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, and I will catch you with most likely regular watch content in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video. Onwards and upwards. Ciao.